Shri B.V. Nimbkar sir, Shri Sanjuraje Nimbarkar, Dr. Anil Rajvanshi, Dr. Nandini Nimbkar, Dr. Chanda Nimbkar, distinguished eminence that I see in front of me, respected Dr. Anand Karve and so many others, members of the family of NARI, friends, well-wishers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Anil, thank you so much. I'm really grateful to you for making me a part of this wonderful, wonderful afternoon. We are celebrating 50 years of an institution, but I want to begin with another institution. He's not an individual, he is an institution himself. Sir, B.V. Nimbkar. An institution lives forever. Individuals go out. So, sir, what you started 50 years ago in the form of this institution, but more importantly, the message on what is important for India, what is relevant for India, how cutting-edge science and technology can be used for the good of not just some, but for good of all. I think it's a great message, and that will live forever. So on behalf of all of us, I want to pay my tributes to you. I would also suggest that 50 years is a big occasion. There are members of family of NARI who are here, but many of them will not be here. So shall we begin by giving an applause which will be so loud that even those who are not here will hear this. There is a lot to say, but I will make just 4 or 5 points. I think first of all, the seeds of this institution were sown in 1964, and to see the magnificence, the achievement of this great institution. We started with agronomic research and breeding. It's phenomenal. What is so special is that principle that we talk about, more from less for more. I think this institute is an exemplar. They say scarcity and aspiration is a deadly combination. I think this institute demonstrated that despite scarcity, the aspirations have been so high, and that combination has worked all through. I think that, to me, is something extraordinarily special. The second point is, I was going through in great detail the report that you had sent me. I've been, of course, following up on NARI. It is one of the institutions very close to my heart. In fact, I was asking someone, as soon as you say Phaltan, what comes to your mind? That was the point we were making, and of course, NARI comes to your mind. It's as simple as that, and it has made a sort of big difference. But if you see your early history, our early history, with small donations from individuals, which were contributed because they believed in a cause from their personal, this institute actually survived the earlier days. Today, there is a very fashionable word called crowdfunding. But we were pioneers in crowdfunding 50 years ago. So like that, one of the great characteristics of this institute is the pioneering nature of the institute itself, being first. Once I asked somebody about scientists and so on, and he said only 2 people are remembered in science. Those who say the first word in science and those who say the last word in science. One of them who did that Stephen Hawking passed away, as you know, 3 days ago. So from that point of view, I see many firsts that this institute has, and that is called thought leadership. Thought leadership, of course, follows action leadership. And that action just does not depend upon the institute. It depends upon the society, the government, the policy makers, and so on and so forth. And it is a composite of that which brings benefits finally to the society. So therefore, as has been repeatedly mentioned, I will also mention that you talked about the achievement that you have in terms of the breeding of the sheep, which actually brought income to the poorest of the poor, and the work that was done by using the ABCP gene for breeding from small Garola sheep, to my mind, it just stands out. And the important point about this is that this was selected, as I understand, as 5 livestock projects in the 2012 FAO publication on biotechnologies at work for small farm holders. Okay? The whole world actually recognizes that this is the way to go. Right? And yet, we are struggling for funds. We are making statements that we must double farmers' income. Right? And yet, the way to double the income, that research, that innovation is not getting supported. So I felt deeply pained when I heard about the challenges that you are facing currently. And this is, to me, not on. That's why I was mentioning that there is now this Maharashtra State Innovation Society, of which I happen to be the co-chairman, and all the principal secretaries of respective departments are sort of members, and I will take up this particular challenge on your behalf, because this has just been formed. Okay? Because at the end of the day, it is not just the technology, the policy, they must go together. Okay? One without the other just doesn't sort of work. So from that perspective, I think this is extraordinarily important. The other part I want to make is that the benefits of what has been done have been enjoyed by the society. I have seen the 1970s, the cotton variety Nimbkar won 28,000 hectares, Vasant won 20,000 hectares. So I think the benefits that this institute has brought with very little resource is very well acknowledged. So I think one has to start putting down the benefit to cost ratio, basically. And for every rupee that has been invested here, what is the difference it has made? Because that is the only language, by the way, the economists understand that, the Niti Aayog understands, Planning Commission understands. Okay? Because these are investments into the future of those that we want to basically help, which is right at the sort of bottom of that. The third point I wanted to make was something that was touched upon by Sri Sanjeev Nimbkar, and that has to do with great work, Anil, that you have done, for example. You are first in many things, like world's first solar-powered distillation plant, right? The NARI kerosene lantern, for example, first major important innovation that you did in terms of kerosene lighting, and getting more from less, that will not only sort of light but heat, that particular combination. I think to me it's a sort of a great innovation. Or for example, when you had through this Rockefeller Foundation the 500 kilowatt thermal gasifier based on sugarcane residue, that again was first. You were the first. Just now, this electric cycle rickshaw 1995. We now all talk about electric cars and by 2030 we'll do this, that and the other. The whole world is moving, but you are ahead of time. That was thought leadership, sort of getting it done. Or for example, ethanol as a cooking sort of fuel that we did 18 years ago, for example. I think these are all things which are ahead of time. The world recognized it. That is my sort of worry that I have. For example, 2000, you got this global award on ethanol lamp stove. And amazingly, the Tesla is a name that we always hear. And you shared it with Tesla, basically. And one feels so proud. Then the question comes with all the thought leadership, and that includes so many other things that I don't want to list out. Why didn't they scale? And that responsibility was not yours, frankly. And that is where I think the fundamental difference has to come. And I want to focus my next few minutes on, although India shows thought leadership, why does it not become a business leader? Okay? And there I have the following sort of feeling. I think any innovation to be successful, because finally innovation is all about journey from mind to marketplace. It doesn't end with pilot plant, it doesn't end with prototype. It has to be mass consumed, basically. Scale matters. So I have come up with something which in the public speech I am mentioning for the first time. What we need is assured innovation. Now what is assured? The first A is affordable. Today we have 1 billion mobiles because they are affordable. If they were $250, they would not have it. $25, yes. And now of course, one of the enterprises offers it for zero. You give 1,500 rupees and take away 1,500 rupees after 3 years. That's a business model innovation. So affordability is extremely critical because there is a lot of our population which is less than $2 a day. The second is scalable. And when I say scalable, scale to as close to the addressable market as possible. Because that scale will be different. In TB it will be different, in influenza it will be different, in malaria it will be different, alright, in mobile phones it will be different, but the addressable market, how do you scale to that? The third is sustainable. In 3 ways. First is economic. You can't run a business on government subsidies, by the way. It has to have a strong business model. The second is environmental. Okay, because today we have a lot of these plastic sachets. They are affordable, but are they environmentally sustainable? They are not. And third is society. Society must finally accept it, basically. I chair the Swachh Bharat Technology Expert Committee, and there we talk about some of the criteria. And the last one is socially acceptable. Affordable, scalable, sustainable, but not only rapidly deployable, but socially acceptable. So there are many things that are not socially acceptable. So how do you change that? In fact, what I'm finding now is that it's not so much about building toilets, but it's about using toilets, the social behavior. I think that is becoming sort of the most important point. So that is affordable, scalable, sustainable. Next is user-friendly. Okay, universal, user-friendly, maintenance-free. And we were just talking about this particular issue only yesterday. We were considering one of the entries for the Earth Care Awards, which I chaired. I cannot disclose what it is, but what we are saying is that what was done by that innovation was making it so user-friendly, basically, that women in villages could be ready. Because bulk of the time, Indian marriage is that when something goes wrong, there is nobody to sort of, let's say, correct it and so on and so forth. So, user friendliness is very important. I mean, in technology, for example, if you are not literate, you can't type. But you don't have to type if you are touching. You don't have to type if voice recognition is there, and so on. So that's what I mean by user friendly. The third one is R, rapid. Because not only you are running, your competitors are running. Okay? And your speed has to be more than that of your competitors. That's why. And in India, that is our biggest challenge. I mean, my friend Dr. Vijay was telling me, it was 14 years ago that he talked about GST. It took 14 years to get GST implemented. These are the time scales, years. They can't be years. They can't be even months, they have to be days. It is not the change that matters anymore. It is the rate of change. No, it's not even that. It is the rate of change. The world is moving so fast. That is very important. The next one is excellence. Now you say, come on, you are joking. Because what is affordable can't be excellent. What is excellent cannot be affordable. Sorry. That is where India has proved everybody wrong. We are able to do things. Our Mars orbiter mission, $74 million. US, $671 million. Both of us circling the Mars. It was not because of our cheap labor cost or whatever it is. There is no labor, it is brain hours, not man hours. What was important was the way we went to Mars. Yes. And that you see in everything that we actually, so that is very important. And finally, distinctive, not me too. And why distinctive? Distinctive not only in terms of your competitors, but distinctive in terms of what you did yourself. As Sony chairman had said, you know, we believe in replacing our own products ourselves, otherwise the competitor will do it. So I mean, in all these assure, that is, affordable, scalable, sustainable, user-friendly, rapid, excellence, and distinctive. I use this for all your innovations. And you know what is missing? You had made them affordable, you had made them user-friendly, you had done them rapidly, you had got the excellence in technology, technological innovation plus your own, and they were distinctive. Like nobody had thought like what you did for you. Where did it? What are the letters that were missing? Scalable and sustainable. And that is where I think a lot of things need to be done. Because in our case, our greatest challenge is the following. I always say the tripod on which India has to stand is talent, technology and trust. Trust in yourself. This Marico Innovation, the foundation of which I was chairman, just now a presentation was made by somebody who has developed a high-tech camera. It got implemented in US, in Europe, in Peru, in Philippines, this, that and the other. And the seventh country to implement it was India. Because we just don't have that trust in ourselves. Ashok Junjunwala, our common friend, you remember his wireless local loop. First got implemented in Madagascar, in Brazil, and then it got implemented. I'm elaborating on that because you have been a great inventor. But innovation is successful exploitation of a new idea into the field. How does one move from invention to innovation? And that is where I think the government has a big role to play. I give the example of this computer, for example. 2001 when it came, it had accelerometer as an advanced technology which iPhone got in 2007. Samsung Galaxy, you know, the ability to write on the sort of screen of this thing. There are technologies which Samsung Galaxy got recently, they had that. And yet, you don't see that. So that is where the policy comes in, and that is where I have tried to do something. The Niti Aayog had called me, by the way, because they are now thinking in terms of India at 75. India is 71, 2017. So India at 75 now. So they had brainstorming with different people, science, technology, innovation, and they asked me to chair it. Both Amitabh Kant was there and Rajiv, everybody. So one of them got up and said, what is the use of Mashelkar committee? Shocked, asked me, what have I done? Then he talked about Swachh Bharat, because what we do is that we recommend technologies, basically, which are absolutely cutting edge in drinking water and sanitation, but leave it to the states to choose. But when states float the tender, they go for everyone. So are you going to go for the lowest cost, or are you going to be going for the cutting edge technology which will take you into the future? That is where I created a paper called Public Procurement for Assured Inclusive Innovation. And that's what Niti Aayog is going to sort of project. Because that is where. So what happens is that government becomes the first buyer. So, for example, whatever your technologies were, government had put an order for 1,000, 10,000, 5,000. You know, you can see the customer feedback, the beta testing, finalizing the design, creating the market appetite, etc. Everything would happen. That happens in all the countries, right? China, 8 or 9 years ago, I remember there was a Global Inclusive Innovation Summit, and I was the opening plenary speaker. And the person who spoke after me was a Chinese lady. She was the Vice Minister of Science and Technology. And she said the public procurement support to new inventions in China last year was close to 1 trillion yuan. Divided by 6 and you get dollars. Right? So the new policy that I'm trying to work out is actually innovative public procurement policy for assured inclusive innovation, for as well as off. For we have been doing, the government gives support, like what we got. But off, when you come to the product, no. So I think that's a major change I think we will have basically to do. The one more point I want to make before I close is I sort of remember what you said in terms of you are having to travel 4 hours to make a call, etc. Even here had changed. Content decides the content. And therefore, when we talk about NARI's future, the context is different now than it was when. So I think we need to look at that context. I mean, take the context of a telephone call that you talked about. I mean, I still remember I came back in 1976, but to Pune, not to Phaltan. So I was better off. But still, I remember it took 6 years to get the first sort of mobile. And I remember Prahlad Chavriya's book, Phenolics, where he says that when somebody got a phone, he would do a puja and a party. From there we have come now, you know, where from 155th position in mobile data transmission, we are not leapfrogged to 100th position. We are pole vaulted to number 1 position. Okay? Number 2 is US, number 3 is China. Nobody would have imagined last year that this is going to happen. You know? We are very proud of our Indian innovation. We say miscall. And we are very proud of that. Miscall to my mind is jugaad. Why jugaad? Because you are not paying for it. Somebody else, telecom operator, is paying for it. You are getting the benefit, not the cost. From there you come to free voice call now. So to me, one of the big achievements of Jio, for example, is not that they have now close to 200 million customers and X, Y, Z. No. It is that from jugaad we have moved to. And from there, we have moved to almost free video call. It is not 250 rupees per GB, it is 10 rupees per GB. So I was telling somebody on the other day, you know, who has a widowed mother, basically, but he is working on the border. I say, your mother, your children, your wife, everybody can talk to you every day for just 1 or 2 rupees for 5-minute talk. Can you just see what it means, Karvesai, for the morale of those who are lonely on the borders? That is the transformation. I look at that, you know, that cultural shift from jugaad to systematic innovation, making it accessible to all. That is what I mean by more from less for more. You can quite clearly see. So I think one of the things that in the new context, and as was pointed out by you, is how do you make high technology work for the poor? That's number one. And Number two is how do you make high technology work in areas which you never thought can work? Because people are looking at exponential technologies, which is big data analytics, Internet of Things, virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, 3D printing, sensors, including blockchain now. Okay? What we have to start thinking now, because these are becoming extremely affordable. Previously, when they are not, artificial intelligence is one. As soon as you say AI, of course, here we talk about artificial insemination. The world is talking about AI as artificial intelligence. So all these are becoming sort of available. How do we bring this? Because that is the culture we are trying to establish. In everything that you did, you use high technology to work it, make it work for the poor. But what I'm saying is that the digital technologies have expanded that field so widely, so that how do you do that? And it's not just technological innovation. It is business model innovation, system delivery innovation, workflow innovation, process innovation, social innovation, policy innovation. Because without that it will not happen. The fact that you all are carrying these mobile, by the way, is a brilliant example of how you require combinatorial. Can I say the first one was policy. We opened it up, right? BSNL monopoly gone and so on and so forth. And we took also policy decision, we will not go for copper lines. Okay? Mobile over internet and other things, they are all policy. But what they use is the handset was $50. That was brought down to $25. By whom? By Nokia, Ericsson. But supposing it was not $25, it was $0. Would people have bought it? No. Because the phone calls were 10 cents per minute. $2 per day is your income. 200 cents per day is your income. 20-minute call and it's gone. That was brought down to 0.01 cent. That's the business model innovation. In fact, C.K. Prahlad and I have written a paper in Harvard Business Review on how this was done. Okay? So it was policy innovation, technological innovation, and business model innovation, and the combination. So therefore, in our future work, there are two things I want to say. How will we make use of the technologies that are coming up, but also use these different models? Because with right models and the combination, thing can work many times. Many times, great technology innovation will not work if you didn't have the good business model innovation. So on our innovation journey, as we come along, I think that is very important. I'll just end by giving you some live examples. You know, in my mother's name, I have created what is called R.A.Mashelkar Inclusive Innovation. Okay? And I'm not a great believer in best practice or the current best practice. Because if you're doing that, you're copying somebody's. I'm a believer in next practice. So this award we give to next practice. This is the 7th year of the award. And I'll tell you some of the award winners, just to indicate to you the kind of inclusive innovation the country needs. And although they are done by urban setting, by urban innovators, how that can be applicable for every sort of rural man or woman or child. One of them was done by Michigan, just 28-year-old. He went to villages and women were dying of anemia. Why? Because their low hemoglobin levels were not detected in time. Why? Because they didn't want to give blood. Why? Because they thought it was precious. At least the cases that he saw. So he said, why do I have to take a blood? I will create something non-invasive, which just is wrapped around the finger and you can read the hemoglobin. Now the important point was that making high technology work for the rich, very easy. Making low technology work for the poor, very easy. But making high technology work for the poor is very difficult. And that's what he did. He used photolithoscopy, photospectrometry, advanced software on photon scattering, and created a device where you did not require 150 or 200 rupees to detect your hemoglobin. You could do it in 10 minutes. And non-invasive. In fact, when he received the award, Anuaga gave the award, he just came, put it around her finger and said, 11.6, take care. Now you can just imagine what difference it will make for rural village. It is non-invasive, it doesn't require anything at all. Cannot government take this as a policy? Can't the corporate social responsibility, 2% net profit, each one of them has a program on health, can't they take that? That is number one. Number two, it was Rahul Rastogi. Again, all these young people are around 28, 29, 30. His father had a challenge on sort of heart issues. So in the middle of the night, we had to take him out for ECG. So he said, why? And then you lie down and I think some of us have gone through that. And there is a nurse and they print out half an hour, expensive and so on. So he said, why can't they create something which is like a smartphone? Okay? And so he has created a device, and he himself is an electronic czar, where you put your two thumbs, 15 seconds, there is a sensor which you put around 1, 2, 3 above the heart, 1, 2, 3 below the heart. And within 3 minutes, if you have downloaded an app called Sanket, the ECG in your hand, basically. How accurate is it? As accurate as the 20. It has been certified. Okay? Cost 5 rupees per ECG. Now you can just imagine as this thing spreads, and in rural villages we start having connectivity, which is happening rapidly. Anyone from wherever they can connect with the surgeon. And those of you who are more interested in that, just go to Sanket, by the way, and you can buy it on Amazon. As simple as that. The third one, last year's awardee, was Neer Shah. Again in his family there was a death by breast cancer. Why? Because it was not detected early. In fact, the maximum breast cancer deaths, we stand out as a capital. We are number one in wrong things. So this is one. Now he created something where non-invisibly, no mammography, painful and so on and so forth, you can detect. Absolutely accurate. They have just now signed partnership with GE Healthcare. They will go to 25 countries, covering more than 50 million women. Again, FDA approved and so on. Cost $1. Per scan, just $1. I'm giving you these 3 examples to say, and all of these are beneficial to the rural villages. In some cases, at most you require a public health worker, created by our own young Indian minds. Now you can just see, if the government comes in by saying, because they're talking about health for all those programs that you're hearing, here are innovators creating these, like you did, basically. So I think what we need really is a kind of a new innovation movement, which is an inclusive innovation movement, which is that Gandhian engineering that I talked about. Why did I call it Gandhian engineering? In 2008, about 10 years ago, this is by the way 10th year, I was elected to the Australian Academy. I'm a fellow of both Australian sort of academies, both Australian Academy of Science as well as ATSE, the Australian Technology Science Engineering Academy. So I was elected to that, and I was supposed to give a lecture on innovation. So I said Gandhian engineering. Why did I call it Gandhian engineering? Because first, Mahatma Gandhi had said that the benefits of science must reach every individual of the society. And second, it's enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. Right? That means use your current resources for in such a way that you get more from less. So that more and more people, not the current generation, but the future generation, your granddaughter and grandson and the rest of it will sort of basically. So I combined the two and created this movement, and it became a big hit. Actually, I remember World Economic Forum, after C.K. Prahlad had published the paper, they had a session, half-day session on more for less for more. Because it is not just India that wants it, the whole world wants it today, basically. And last year in Germany, in Munich they had it, because they have this problem of refugees and others, etc. They also need it. you know, because they also have a bottom of the pyramid now in terms of this thing, etc. So I think these are going to be the sort of future ways in which we are going to move. Let me conclude now by saying that it's a real honor, it's a real privilege for me that I'm standing in an institute which has been a thought leader for the last 50 years. I'm standing in an institute which is not lecturing on inclusive innovation, but is doing inclusive innovation. I'm standing in an institute, you know, which is pride of India, basically. And by inviting me here today to celebrate these 50 years, I have no words to thank you. Thank you so much.